everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video, this fun circus tent. Nice and bright and colorful. We do a lot of fun shadows and highlights towards the end, but overall very simple. We use Symmetry to help us get all of our shapes and stuff. So a very fun and easy one today. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I also offer exclusive tutorials over on Patreon, so if you support me over there, you get access to exclusive tutorials every month, plus sneak peeks of what we're drawing over here on YouTube. So here are some of the drawings that we've been doing recently. If you want to check that out, it's linked in the description below. But before we get started on today's video, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette. I have it linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just save the file to your iPad and then double tap it or click on it and click open in Procreate, and it will automatically pop into Procreate so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video today. I will also post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen and in the description below so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we will get started. Okay, this is the color palette that we'll be working with today. Very simple one. We're going to use like one color for all the shadows and highlights, so that makes it a little more simple. But let's just go ahead and get started. Let's first set our background color. So on our layer menu, let's go to our background color layer here, click on it to open it up, and grab this first color on the first row of the color palette to set it to that color. Back on our layer menu, we will be on layer 1, and we're first just going to draw the ground. So we'll skip over this second and third color on the top row. We'll use those later at the end to finish off our background. And we're going to skip to this fourth color on the top row, our first green. Let's be on our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. I'm going to set my size to 30%, opacity is at 100. And we are just going to draw a perfectly horizontal oval towards the bottom here. So I'm going to draw a nice, good, skinny oval, hold it down until it turns perfectly smooth. Hopefully it turns into an oval like this. If it turns into a line, you might just need to widen it a little bit from top to bottom. And then when we touch our finger on the screen, it should set itself to like this perfectly horizontal angle. If you kind of rotate it, you can see it snaps to a few different angles, but we want this horizontal one. If yours snaps to a circle, you might have just drawn it a little too close to a circle, so then you just might need to draw it a little less wide so that we can get this good horizontal shape. Kind of whatever size and stuff you have it, as long as it's horizontal, let it go. Go ahead and fill it in. And then we're going to grab it with our arrow tool on freeform, and we can resize it so we can make it skinnier from top to bottom. If we need to, we can make it wider, anything like that. I'm going to make it maybe about like this, pretty skinny from top to bottom, like so. A good little space on the left and right side. Then let's also turn on snapping in the bottom left so that we can snap it to the center of our screen. So move it around until you get this vertical yellow line and snap it there. So I'm going to snap it right about there. I'm going to leave a little bit of room below it towards the bottom of our canvas. That looks good. Now we're going to kind of extend the shape in the front a little bit. So same monoline brush, same color, same layer. I'm going to maybe turn my canvas a little bit to help me. But we're just going to start kind of like on the left side. I'm going to kind of come off and make some quick like wavy lines, something like this, coming back to the right side to connect it there. Something like that. I might make it a little shallower. That got like poked out a little too far. Maybe something more like this, just so we get kind of an oblong shape, but nothing too far down, like nothing sticking out super far. We still want it to feel very horizontal. So then I'll fill that in, fill it in with your brush if you need to. You can kind of connect the edges a little smoother wherever those started and ended. Something like that, just to give us kind of a different shape in the front. Okay, and that's all we'll do for now. We'll add some more details in a little bit once our tent's laid down. So let's go ahead and lay down our tent. So on our layer menu, let's add a new layer on top of the one we were just on. And we're going to turn on Symmetry for this. So let's go under the gear icon, under Canvas, click to turn on the drawing guide, click Edit Drawing Guide, set it to Symmetry, and then you should see a vertical line here. If you don't, you can click Vertical under Options here, and then click Done. And then on our layer menu, this layer should say Assisted. If it doesn't, just click on it and turn on Drawing Assist. So Symmetry is active, and then let's grab the first color that we're going to use to lay this down with, which is going to be the second one on the second row, and our same monoline brush at 30%. So let's start with like the bottom of the tent. So we're going to start maybe like halfway from top to bottom of our green area. So right kind of smack dab in the middle, top to bottom, and then a good ways towards the edge. So maybe right about here. And we're going to draw towards the center in a slightly curved line going like downwards. So down, hold it down. Hopefully it turns into an arc. If it doesn't, click the line button at the top and hopefully it gives you the arc option. If not, go ahead and redraw it a couple times till you get a kind of curved line and it gives you that arc option. And then I'm going to just adjust it a little bit so it's just a very, very slight curve on the front here, nothing too crazy. And then it meets nicely in the middle so it looks like one long curve rather than like two rainbows or something. You know, it shouldn't dip in the middle. It should look like one long smooth curve. Pretty shallow again, like so. And then we'll go back to our pen tool. Now we're going to make the side. So that's going to be a straight line coming from this right edge. So I'm going to start right there. I'm going to go up a little bit, hold it down until it turns perfectly straight. And then if you touch your finger on the screen, you'll get this like perfectly vertical line, or it'll snap to these other angles. And we want it just in a little bit from vertical. So if this is vertical and this is the one next to vertical, we want it maybe at that one or like kind of in between. So maybe like more like this. And then we want a good room at the top still. So I'm going to go maybe halfway up my canvas at most. So maybe about here. Let that go. You can always click your line button at the top if you need to adjust it any further. Make sure it meets up nicely in this bottom corner here. And then grab your pen tool again, and now we'll connect it across the top in a horizontal line. So right at the end of this line, just go straight to the middle, hold it down, touch your finger on the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Click the line button at the top if you need to move it at all. I'm just going to move it around. I'm not going to change the angle, but just move it to where it connects nicely on that corner. And then let's go ahead and fill that in. So that's the start of like the bottom part of our tent where our flaps will be, but we still have enough room on the top for like our top tent and our flag and stuff. Okay, and then while we're here, let's go ahead and erase where the flaps will be. So I'm going to grab my eraser also on the monoline brush. I'm going to set that also to 30%. And I'm going to start maybe a little ways down from the top here, and I'm just going to erase a slightly curved line down and to the right, hold it down until it turns perfectly smooth. Click the arc button at the top to adjust it. So I'm going to bring it together on the symmetry line here so it kind of comes to a point. Again, there's still a little bit of room to the top of my shape, so maybe about there. And then it curves nicely to the bottom, but you can adjust the curve if you need to. But we get a good little opening there, like so. So I would say it almost kind of cuts it into thirds, like there's like a third on the right, a third on the left, and a third in the middle is roughly about where we're at. Okay, so once you like that, we're going to erase everything else in the middle here. Let's go ahead and grab a chunk of it first. So grab your selection tool, set it to automatic, and make sure color fill is turned off. And then just tap on this middle area to select it, grab it with your arrow tool, drag it off the bottom of the screen, and then arrow tool again to deselect it, and then this is all that we're left with. I'm going to grab my eraser again though and go back in because there you'll probably have like a little ghost of a line left, so just erase that around where our shape was. And that'll clear it all out, and you just have to do it on the one side since symmetry is turned on. So once that's all cleaned up, this is what we have left for our tent. So let's go ahead and just fill in this background color now. So on our layer menu, let's go ahead and add a new layer, drag our new layer below all the layers that we have so far, right above our background color layer. And we'll grab our brown color, first one on the second row, monoline brush still, and I'm just going to like make a quick shape behind everything here. So it went behind my tent, behind my ground, but I connected it so it's filled in, and then we'll just fill that in, and that is the filled in part of our tent there. Okay, now let's continue on. So now we're going to make the top part of the tent, and we're going to make it in red so that we can see it a little bit better. So these are both going to be striped this cream color and red. So we have the base down for this one. We'll lay the base and the other one in red so we can see it. So on our layer menu, let's add a new layer at the very top of all of our layers. Click on it and turn on Drawing Assist so we can use Symmetry again. Grab our red color now, third one on the second row. Same monoline brush and everything. Let's start at the top here, a little ways down so that we have room for our flag, so maybe right about here. And I am going to start and I'm going to kind of curve out until I'm a little bit ways away from the top of the other part of my tent there in a nice little curved line. Kind of straight across from it, but we can move it around if we need to. But click your arc button at the top if you need to adjust it. And then let's go ahead and make another straight horizontal line across to connect this point to the center. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. Line to move it around. I'm going to just make sure it meets up nicely on the corner there, like so, and fill it in. Then we can grab with our arrow tool on freeform or uniform, and you can resize it. I'm just going to drag mine down a little bit so it goes right on across the top of that tent there. I can maybe even bring it in on the side a little bit, recenter it on our center yellow line, but I do want it to kind of poke off the side just a little bit at the top there. Now we can go ahead and start laying down some stripes. So let's start with this top piece since that's the one that we're on. Let's add a layer right above it. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask and click on it again and turn on Drawing Assist. Let's grab our cream color, second one on the second row, and with our pen tool, the same brush, I'm going to start right at the tippy top, right on the symmetry line, and go down and to the right a little bit in a slightly curved motion again. Let that kind of snap there. Click the arc button to adjust it a little bit, but we just kind of want to make it kind of like in line with our other one. I'm in a little bit here. So we'll have a red stripe on the left and right side, and we'll have another one in the middle. So I'm kind of cutting it into like fifths, I guess, to start. So there's that, and then we'll do another one. So back to our pen tool, same starting point, and we'll just come down and curve a little closer to the center now. Hold that down until you like the way that it looks. Adjust it if you need to. So something maybe like this. We want them all to be kind of similar in size. So maybe about like that. Pen tool, I'm going to connect across the bottom of the cream area so I can fill that in. Touch up any of the fill in if you need to, but that is the stripes on the top of our tent. Okay, and then we'll do a similar thing to our to our first layer that we made. So let's go back to that first cream layer, add a layer above it, click on it and set it to a clipping mask, click on it again and turn on Drawing Assist, and now we'll grab our red color. So third one on the second row, same monoline brush, and we'll do kind of a similar thing here. So we're gonna again have a red stripe on the right and left side, so let's start that one. So I'm gonna go maybe not in quite as far as this red one is, but maybe right about here. Draw a straight line, and we'll just make it straight, hold it down until it turns perfectly straight, and then we kind of want it like slightly angled with like the edge of our tent there. Okay, and then we'll go again in a little bit, make another kind of straight line, hold it down, go in a little bit, make another straight line, hold it down. So now I have like a bunch of different lines here. So this one's the one in the middle is gonna stay cream, then it's gonna go red, then cream, then red on the edge. So redo your lines if you need to. So I'm going to connect around the right side. So from top around the right to the bottom to connect that to fill that one in. Then I'm going to connect across the top and bottom of this middle section that I made and fill that in. So these are the stripes that we should have. So it'll look better when we add like the scalloped edge, and we'll add the shadows and everything. So it'll start looking a lot better, but this is a good start. Let's go ahead and make our little scalloped edge now. So on our layer menu, let's add a layer right above the one that we're on below our top tent. Click on this new layer and turn on Drawing Assist. Grab our orange color, fourth one on the second row, and we'll make a scalloped edge. I'm probably going to try to do 4 from the middle to the right side. So right under this line here, I'm going to start there. I'm going to start right on my symmetry line. I'm going to do a curved line, hold it down. Edit it if you need to. Another curved line, hold it down, try to make them pretty similar. Edit it if you need to. Curved line, hold it down, edit it. So they're all kind of like the same height and stuff. And then I just want one more, so I'll do a smaller one on the edge, that's fine, till I get to this right side. So redo them if you need to, if your sizes ran out, but mine kind of started like bigger and went smaller, that's fine too. I'm going to connect across the top to the symmetry line in the middle and then fill them in. You might have to fill them in a couple times if you cut them off. And that is my little scallop edge. I can grab it with my arrow tool on freeform and make it taller or shorter if I want to. I might just drag it down a little bit, make it a little bit longer on the front there. That is looking great. So the whole tent might be a little too tall because I still need my flag on the top and I don't want it quite to the top of the screen. So I'm going to grab all my layers and just shrink them down a smidge because I like the proportions of them. So I'm going to go to my layer menu. I'm going to grab my top layer, slide right on all of them until we get right above our ground layer. Arrow tool on freeform, and I'm just going to drag the whole thing down just a smidge, just squash it a little bit from top to bottom, or I can move it down on my grass a little further if that's helpful, keeping it centered on my center yellow line. Let's go ahead and add our flag, and then we'll finish off our ground, and then we'll add all of our shadows and highlights, and then finish off our background. So on our layer menu, let's add a layer below all of our tent layers so far, so right above our ground layer is good. I'm going to grab my brown color again, first one on the second row, same monoline brush. Let's drop our size maybe to like 10%. And right in the middle here, sticking out of the top, I'm going to make a straight line for our flag to come off of. So straight line up, hold it down until it turns perfectly straight. Touch your finger on the screen to make it perfectly vertical, up a good ways, and then we'll have the flag kind of stick off of it. So that looks good about there. Then on each side, we're going to have a string of more flags. So they're going to extend out maybe as far as our ground does. Let's go ahead and actually turn on Symmetry first. So on our layer menu, click on this layer and turn on Drawing Assist. And then same brush, same color and everything. I'm going to start maybe halfway down my flagpole or just a little bit, even just right above our tent, whatever works, somewhere in there. And start there and draw a curved line going this way towards the edge where like the grass ends. So hold that down, click the arc button if you want to adjust it or redraw it if you don't like the way that it looks. I'm going to bring it together on my symmetry line there. But we want room for our flags to kind of hang and not hit our tent. They're not going to be huge, but you know, just kind of keep that in mind. So that looks great. Let's go ahead and add our flags now. So on our layer menu, let's add a new layer. Let's first make our red flag at the very top in the center. So grab our red color, third one on the second row, same monoline brush at 10%. And I'm just going to start here right on the top of my pole and I'm just going to go out and back in, hold that down so we get two straight lines. Click Edit Polyline if you want and you can adjust it. So I made it kind of long and skinny. Then I'm going to connect it right on the pole here. If you can see some of the pole, that's fine. And then I'm going to fill it in. So that's my red flag to start. Now we want our other flags to be symmetrical again. So on our layer menu, let's click on this layer and turn on Drawing Assist, but we're going to stay right on this layer. We're going to draw them all in red to start, and then we'll recolor them. So I'm just going to start kind of right a little ways down on the line here, and we'll just make a triangle like this, hold it down. I just do the two lines to start, and then I adjust it, and then connect it, either in a straight line or a curved line or whatever works, and fill it in. So there's my first one, and then I want one right on the end, and then maybe we'll end up with 5, so or you might end up with 4. So I'm going to make my one on the end next. So right where the end of the line is here, I'm going to make another one, hold my 2 lines down, zoom out a little bit and make sure they look kind of similar in size, something like that. Connect across the top and fill in. Okay, so there's my starting and ending one, so I think I can definitely get 3 more of that size in between, or you can space them out further, or if yours are just bigger, you might just get 2 more, that's fine too. So I'm going to just skip right and go to the middle, so I'm going to cut these ones in half. So I'm going to go like right here, hold down, edit the lines to be about the same, roughly, connect across the top, and fill in. Okay, that looks pretty good. Then I'm just going to cut these in half again. So then I'll just do one like right here-ish. Hold it down, edit it, connect it, fill it in. And then one here. Looks good. Connect it. Fill it in. Okay, so now we have our flags on each side. Those look good. Now we want to recolor them, but we don't want them to be like symmetrical anymore or identical. So I'm going to kind of change some of their colors. So let's go to our layer menu, click on this layer and turn on Alpha Lock. Click on it again and turn off Drawing Assist. So now we'll only color within these shapes. So I'm going to grab my cream color, second one on the second row, and maybe I'll just do like this first one on the left. So you can drag and drop to fill it in. And then sometimes it doesn't get the edges all the way, so I like to just kind of go over the edges again with my brush. But that looks good. Then maybe on the right side, we'll do like the second one. And then on the left side, maybe we'll do like the second to last one also. So we'll kind of do that to start and see as we go, but then I'll grab my orange color, fourth one on the second row, and I'll leave this first one here red. So maybe this next one I'll do orange. So this is the third one in, so again, I don't want them to be identical, so maybe on the left I'll do the second one, and the last one, and then the last one here as well. So they're just kind of like in random order. It's not a specific order, but we get a few of each color. So I have 3 red, 3 cream, and 4 orange, so that looks great. So now we can go ahead and finish off the ground really quick. So let's go back to our ground layer. Let's grab our base green color again, fourth one on the top row, same monoline brush at 10%. And we're just going to add some kind of grass in the background. So we wanted for our tent to be laid down first. So now on each side on the top edge, I'm just going to make some like little grassy pieces like this. Fill them in. Boom. Same thing on the other side. And we can have some of them like kind of poking out of the back too. So I might just kind of do something like that. Okay, so that's just on each side there. That looks good. Okay, then we're also just going to have like kind of some little pebbles on the ground. So that's with the 5th color on the top row. Same monoline brush, and I'm just going to kind of go through and make some little ovals, like horizontal ovals or like little dots. You don't have to hold them down or anything, but you can if you want to. But just of varying sizes and stuff on the ground here around the front of the tent. Off to the side, inside even. Something kind of like that, nothing too crazy. Okay, and then lastly, to finish everything off, we need to add our flaps on the front, so that'll be quick and easy. So on our layer menu, let's add a new layer. So let's find our red stripe layer that's on the bottom part of our tent and add a layer above it. We're not going to set it to it as a clipping mask, but click on it and turn on Drawing Assist. Grab our orange color, fourth one on the second row, which is kind of weird. They are going to end up being cream colored, but we're going to draw it with orange so that we can see it better. Same monoline brush at 10%. And I'm going to start right on the top here, right above my line where we erased, right? Just right above that, right on my symmetry line. And come out a good ways in a nice curved line, like so. Hold it down. Click the arc button to adjust it, but we're going to bring it together right at the top there. So there's no gap where our eraser mark is, so we're above that. Okay, and then we came out a good ways from our edge here, or our corner. That's kind of where we're going to come back in. So then from this point, we're just going to draw another kind of curved line, like curved down and out till we get right to the end here where our tent ends. Hold it down, adjust it if you need to, but just a slightly curved line there. And then we're going to come back up to the middle right on the inside of this curve here, and another curved line right to the middle there. Adjust it if you need to, but it's fine if we cover up some of this empty space. But we want it to come up in like a nice point, and then go ahead and fill that in. And that is our flap. Fill in any other little pieces that didn't fill in. And those look great. So we will adjust those in cream when we get there. We're going to add the shadows and stuff first. So let's go ahead and start doing our shadows. So let's go to our very bottom layer here, which is our brown background. Add a layer above it, click on it and set it to a clipping mask, and click the N and set it to multiply. And we're going to do this for basically every layer. So we'll snap them together as we go to save some layers, but yeah, so new clipping mask layer on multiply. Let's grab our last color on the top row, 6 thin line. And then the brush that we're going to use for this is going to be the round brush under the painting category. So I have that selected, my opacity is at 100 and my size is at like 20. And I'm just going to kind of go in the background here towards the bottom of this brown area, very lightly at first and then kind of heavier in some areas. So this just kind of makes it like real messy looking, which I like. So some of it's transparent, some of it's darker as you go over it more times, but you get kind of a good like variety going, which I like. So that's just kind of all over in the background there. A little darker at the bottom is kind of what I'm going for. Okay, so that's it for that background layer. I'm going to go to my layer menu and snap those together. Then next up is our ground layer. Let's add a layer above that. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask. Click the N and set it to multiply. So this will be for our shadow, but we're also going to start doing highlights now as well. So same color, same brush and everything. And now we'll just go through the ground here. So I'm just going to do a light layer at first, all under the tent here, inside the tent. Then I'm going to start pushing a little harder to get some like a variation going. But again, kind of like messy is what we're going for. Beautiful. Okay, so just inside the tent, that's the only place we're doing the shadow. Then on our layer menu, let's add another new layer right above our shadow layer. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask, also to our ground layer. And then click the N and this time set it to overlay. And same color, same brush, we're going to use this now to create like highlights. So if you draw like around here, you'll see some highlights start poking through. So we're going to kind of do this all over the rest of the ground, again, kind of in varying like pressures. So sometimes lighter, sometimes not as light, to just kind of create some good variation. That's kind of the whole idea. Beautiful. Okay, so then that's it for our ground. So if you're happy with that, we can snap those 3 layers together. Boom. The next layer up is just our pole and our lines for our flags. We don't need to do anything with that one. But our next flag layer, we'll do highlights on only. So find our flag layer, add a layer above it, click on it and set it to a clipping mask, click the N and set it to overlay for highlights. And we're just going to go ahead and just do some highlights like across the tops. Adjust your brush size if you need to, but I'm just going to kind of do the ends and just kind of some like messy light highlights on them. So nothing too crazy. Some colors you see it more than others, like the red I can push as hard as I want on the red and it barely changes, and then the yellow or the orange like gets real crazy. So keep that in mind, kind of go lighter on some colors. Like same with the cream. The cream gets pretty bright pretty quick, so might take it a little easier on those, but we just want some good kind of variety of color going on all of our stuff to make it look a little messier. That's it for my flags. On my layer menu, I'll snap those 2 layers together. I might even snap them to my line layer below it. Why not? Next up is our tent, and we have our stripes laid down. So we need to draw our shadows and highlights above our stripes, below our flaps. So we're going to add a layer right above our striped layer, and we're going to click on it and set it to a clipping mask so it's clipped to our main shape, and then we're going to click the N and let's set it to multiply to start for some shadows. So we're not going to do symmetry or anything. We're going to make each side individual. So let's start our shadows next to our flaps here. That'll help so that we can change the colors of our flaps back to that cream color. But again, always kind of starting lighter. So next to our flaps and then kind of towards the bottom of our tent. And again, just kind of darken it up as you go here and there just to give it some good variety. Adjust the size if you need to. And then same thing on the other side. Okay, something like that. And then we're also going to add a little bit of a highlight under our scallop. So I'm definitely going to lower my size to maybe like 10% and add a little bit of a shadow, under my scallops here across the top. Kind of mirroring the shape, but nothing too perfect. You don't have to get too crazy with it. But just a little bit of a shadow under those. Layer menu, add another new layer, click on it instead of to a clipping mask, click the N instead of to overlay this time. Pen tool, same one, back up to maybe 20%. And we're just going to throw some highlights in here. So I'm just going to kind of just do some messy like highlighting in this open area just to add more texture and variation. You can even go over some of your shadows, that's fine too, but just to kind of give it some more color. Beautiful. Okay, layer menu. I'm done with those. I'm going to snap those all together, including our red stripes. I'm going to snap those to my base layer. And now we have our tent flap. So now that our shadow's done, we can recolor these. So I'm going to click on this layer and turn on alpha lock. Grab my cream color that they're supposed to be, the second one on the second row. Back to my layer menu, click on this layer and click fill layer. And now they're cream colored, but they have that little shadow around them so we can see them better. And we're going to highlight and shadow them as well. So add a layer above it, click on it and set it to a clipping mask, click the N and set it to multiply. Go back to our highlight and shadow color, sixth one on the top row. Same round brush. I might lower my size for this one to like 15% or so. And we're going to do the shadow towards the bottom. So I'm going to kind of do like the inner and bottom of each side. Again, messy, loose, light in some areas, heavier in others, just to create some variety there. Beautiful. Then a highlight as well. So layer menu, add a new layer, click on it and set it to a clipping mask, click the N and set it to overlay, same color, and we're just going to highlight the areas. So I'm going to start at the tippy top there to highlight that so it kind of sticks out some more, and then highlight the top edge and corner. Again, some good variety. Maybe not too bright. This cream color gets really bright, so I'm going to loosen it, lighten it up a little bit. But that looks great for my flaps. Layer menu, I can snap those three together. Next up is our scallops. Add a layer above it, click on it and set it to a clipping mask, click the N, we'll set it to multiply at first. And our size is still at like 15, I think that's fine. I'm just going to come in from the top and do a little bit of a shadow on the very top edge there, like underneath our top tent piece. Nothing too crazy. Then layer menu, new layer, click on it, set it to a clipping mask, click the N and set it to overlay this time, and we'll highlight the tips. Again, the orange gets very highlighted, so be kind of gentle with it, but again, a little bit of variation there. Okay, that's it for those. Layer menu, let's snap those three together. And then our next one is the top of our tent, and it has our stripes on it. So we're going to go above our stripes, click on it and set it to a clipping mask, click the N and set it to multiply. Same brush, we might go back up to like 20%, or you can stay at 15, whatever works. And this time we're actually going to make the shadow kind of like in the middle. So that's kind of where it would be like darker. So I'm going to go ahead and go through there. Very, very lightly, nothing too crazy. That's kind of where it curves in. Then layer menu, new layer, click on it, set it to a clipping mask, click the N and set it to overlay, and then our highlight is going to be at the top and the like bottom. So like right where, because this would be like getting hit by the sun, So that is kind of what we're doing for that one. So do as much or as little of all of that as you wish to. And then on our layer menu, I'm going to snap those 4 layers together. So including our stripes, we're going to snap them to our base layer. So now we have all of our different tent pieces all separated, all shadowed and highlighted and everything. So that looks amazing. Next up, we're just going to add our circle and cloud in the background, and then we're all set. So on our layer menu, let's go ahead and add a new layer, drag it all the way to the bottom. And let's make our circle first. So let's grab our second color on the top row, switch back to our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab, and make a nice perfect circle, pretty big all the way around. So nice big circle. Hold it down until it turns perfectly smooth. Touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle, and we don't want it going off the edge at all, so nice and big but not going off the edge. Let's grab it with our arrow tool, and on uniform you can resize it, and then we're going to center it with our 2 yellow lines, so centered left to right and top to bottom. I just want a little edge showing all the way around. So I have a little bit on the top right, left, and bottom. I can't tell if it's centered or not. There we go. And then once it's in a good place, go ahead and fill in the very edge around it. So my ground is going over it. That's totally okay. Your flags could even be going over it. That's fine too. Kind of just however it turned out is good. And then we're going to add some clouds as well. And those are also going to go over it. So it's just kind of a fun background piece. So on our layer menu, let's add a new layer above this circle layer and grab our bright white, third one on the top row. Same monoline brush, and we're going to draw our clouds. I might put my size back up to 30. Okay, and each cloud is going to start with a straight horizontal line. So I'm going to start maybe just like right here behind everything. Straight horizontal line, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen. Maybe we're off the circle a little bit. Then from there on the edge, I'm just going to draw a curved line. Bigger curved line, smaller curved line. Whatever, you can hold your curves down if you want to. I'm just kind of quickly drawing them. Connect it to our baseline, wherever that is. If you can see the other side of it, make sure it comes together real nice and clean. But since I can't see it, I just kind of connected it back here. And then we'll fill it in. Do a few more of those. I might make one like up here. Horizontal line to start. Curve, 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 curve. Fill it in. And maybe one more kind of small one, maybe like down here that we can see part of. Connect it somehow and fill it in. So just a few kind of clouds in the background like that to bring it together. And once that's done, unless you want to like resize any of your pieces or move them around, I might make my ground a little bit bigger, recenter it there. Anything like that, feel free to do. So once that's done, that's it for our drawing today. So I hope that you had fun. I hope that you liked the way the yours turned out. I hope that you maybe learned something new. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any future tutorials from me. And then if you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it. So go ahead and post it there and then tag me so that I can check it out. And while you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.